Yo, what is up guys? This is AddictingArts here, and I'm here with a tutorial for you guys on how to import and export vectors and pictures and all your selections from Photoshop to Cinema 4D, how to add your effects, and how to bring them right back to Photoshop. So I'm going to begin by showing you guys how to make a custom selection, how to make it into a work path, how to export it to Cinema 4D, how to open it up, make it 3D. Then I'm going to show you guys how to render it out and how to save everything as a preset and then bring it right back to Photoshop. So I'm going to open it up, and I've got a nice little picture here, and it's actually just a couple little brushes that I added here. And I'm going to show you guys a few different ways how to make a selection out of this. Excuse me. And then I'm going to show you a way that you can make custom selections for more complex pictures. So if you're on a Mac, there's one easy way of doing this, and it's pressing Command and clicking the thumbnail, and that just selects everything. You can also go to Select, Load Selection, click OK, and it loads everything as well. And one thing you need to remember is when you're working with a simple background or if you're working with a simple selection like this that you're trying to create, make sure it doesn't have a background, or else it'll select that and you'll be bringing that right into Photoshop or into Cinema 4D as well, and it might not work how you want it to. Now, if you're working with like a picture like this and you only want to select a few things out of it and you don't want to make everything 3D, you can just go ahead and click on the magic wand tool, which is the fourth tool down, and you can just click on that and hold shift and click on a few of these, and then that'll just highlight some. If you're working on a picture that you only want a certain selection out of and you don't want everything to be turned into a 3D object, you can just go ahead and go down to the pen tool, which looks like this. It may be on one of these, but just make sure it's on the normal pen tool. And then you can just go ahead and create your selection. And then I'm just going to create a pretty rough little circle around this. Okay, after you tie it both ends, just go ahead and right click in the middle, click make selection, and click OK. When you are making your selection and everything like that, make sure that it's set to 1 pixel tolerance. I think that's what it's called. Now, after you make your selection and you have what you want to turn into a 3D object, click on your Paths tab right here, click the down button, and click Make Work Path. Make sure the tolerance on 1 pixels. It should default at 1. I know mine does, but I'm not sure if everyone else's does. So just make sure it's on 1 and click OK. Now what we're going to do is take our path into Cinema 4D, and we're going to turn it into something similar to this, and then we're going to render it out and bring it right back. So I'm going to go to File, Export, Paths to Illustrator, and this will save it as an Adobe Illustrator path file. So I'm going to put it on my desktop and name it Tutorial and click OK. And then I'm going to open up Cinema 4D. I'm running 11.5. I'm sure it works on everything else. I know it works on R12 and R11.5, and just try it out on yours. If it doesn't, then just leave a comment down below and I'll try to figure it out for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Open, and I'm going to go to my desktop and find the .ai file that I just saved. It's an Adobe Illustrator import, as it says right there. Make sure the scale is on 1 and make sure these two are checked, and click OK. When you bring it open, you'll see that you just get the path, and that's because that's what you saved it like. So now you just got your path, and if you go into your layers panel, you'll see the file name and then a plus arrow. Click the plus, and here you'll see a bunch of these paths. Each one is for a different part of the vector that you brought into here, or the picture. So you can see that it's selecting one different one, and you can move it around and adjust it a little bit maybe before you want to add 3D. Okay, so now to turn it into 3D, all you have to do is go to this little icon right here. It's kind of like a cube or like a circle inside of a box. You just want to click and hold, and you're going to bring out one extrude NURBS for each of the paths. So right here I have 7 paths, so I'm going to bring out 7 extrude NURBS, and then all we have to do is grab one path, click and hold, and drag it on top of an extrude NURBS. Let go when you see the arrow pointing down to a box, because then you know that it'll go straight down. And as you can see on the left in the canvas, you can see that everything's kind of getting a 3D look to it. And then in a minute, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a few effects to it, a little bit of lighting, and then I'll teach you guys how to render it back out into Photoshop. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple quick effects to it. Go ahead and minimize all your extrude NURBS. because the paths aren't actually editable where you can add the effects. You can only add the effects to the extrude NURBS. If you want, I think you can rename them, so I'm going to name it Circle 5 or something like that, so you can rename them if that helps you out a lot. And if you go into the extrude NURBS part right here, you can add all the same effects like your fillet caps, and you can add your depth if you go to object and change the movement from 20. I'm just going to add a fillet cap on everything real quick, and then I'm going to add a material to it, and we'll render it out. So I hope that you guys are liking this tutorial. I have found a ton of other ones on YouTube about it, but they usually keep putting it in 2 parts, and they're usually a little too long, so I'm trying to get a good tutorial for you guys out. Okay, so I just added my fillet caps to everything, and now I'm going to go ahead and go into the materials panel, double click, and I'm going to edit this up real quick. So I think I'm going to make it go to color and make it a blue. I'm going to add a reflection of about 35. And then I'm just going to add it onto each of the different little bubbles that I made. Okay, now I'm just going to add some quick little lighting to it so the reflections show up. I'm not very good with Cinema 4D. I mean, you guys can probably tell. I'm like not the best, but I know what I need to do. If you guys want more Cinema 4D tutorials, let me know. I definitely can do more. So I'm just gonna add a few more lights here. Okay, so now that we got our lights, we're going to go ahead and mess with our render settings so you guys can bring it back. You can either go into render settings by clicking this third little button right here, or you can go into render settings. Now when you're in here, all you want to do is go to general, make sure it's on full render, on output, make sure it's on 1280 by 720, which is 720p. You can lock it, and it'll just, you can lock it, that helps sometimes. And you can also change the resolution to 999. That just kind of gives it, like, I think that pretty much makes it a little bit more clear. And when you go into the save, make sure the save is checked, name the file and choose your destination that you want it to be saved to, and change the format to a PNG or a Mac OS PNG image. Make sure the alpha channel is checked because that makes sure there's no background on the picture. Multi-pass, I keep everything the same. I actually uncheck it, but I don't do anything with it. On anti-aliasing, change geometry to best, and make sure that it's not on animation. We're working with a still image, so keep it on that. And on options, I keep everything the same. I don't really touch anything. Now, if you want to save this as a preset so you can use it later on, go to render setting down here, click on save preset, and then just name it still image preset, and just click OK. And exit out. Now, if you open up a project later on and you want to apply those same render settings, all you have to do is go to render settings, click on render setting down here again, go to load, and then still image preset, exit out, go back into render, and then make sure that this is checked. So if I go back, you can see it's checked now. So now all those same settings are applied. Now all you have to do is just click the little middle button right here. It's like the director's cut board. Just click that and let it render out. I'm going to go back into Photoshop and create a new canvas of 1280 by 720, and then I'm going to open up that file that I just saved, tutorial.png. Now that I bring it in, now you guys can see, I brought it into Photoshop, or I brought it from Photoshop into Cinema 4D like this, and then I brought it into Cinema 4D, added all the effects, made it 3D, and rendered it out. So I hope you guys learned everything you wanted to from this tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. If you had any questions about what I did or how I did it, just throw a comment down below for me. Like the video if you would please, and subscribe if you haven't already. It's I appreciate it a lot. So keep requesting your tutorials and keep buying and getting some graphics from me. Remember, you can get free graphics until 1,000 subscribers, and if you have 1,000 subscribers or more, you can always get it. You don't have to pay. So thanks guys for watching. AddictingArts out.